Consumers are urged to be vigilant these festive holidays. This is as online shopping swindlers are always working ahead, hoping to scam people out of their money. Joining us to tell us what to look out for is Dorothy Mmushi, who is a forensics expert. A very good evening to you, Dorothy. Thank you so much for coming into studio. It is that time of the year. It's a festive time. A lot of us are going to be shopping. Many of us are going to be shopping online as well. But also, we need to be very vigilant. Tell us more about these online scams.
Oh, thank you, Masa, for having me in studio today. As forensic experts, we would like to urge consumers to be extra vigilant this festive season because in as much as technology has evolved, so has our fraudsters. When you're doing those online purchases, it's always important to double check the websites that you're entering into because our criminals have also evolved in terms of getting new ways, innovative ways of trying to get your credit card details. Even if it's not your credit card, it might most likely be your debit card. So even when you are at your ATMs, it's quite important to try and get to an ATM that's in a busy environment where you are sure that there is cameras that would be able to see what you are actually doing. Because in as much as you try and go to quiet places, that's where the fraudsters take that opportunity.
Because you think, oh no, I'm going to avoid this, let me quickly pop into this ATM. But also, what is it about the festive season? Is it because there's more people shopping? Of course, there's the issue of 13th check and a bonus that comes into play as well. So there's obviously more fertile ground. But throughout the year, would you say that these kinds of scams online are still prevalent?
Yes, online scams are still prevalent even during the entire year. It's just that with it being the festive season, as you all know, of course, it's the silly season. So obviously, they are also trying to take that opportunity in terms of getting more illicit money through fraudulent schemes. And I can tell you with the online schemes, there's three prevalent ones. The first one would be called phishing in our terms. That's where it's a cyber type of crime where fraudsters will try and get your banking details through inviting you through an email probably and requesting you to provide your details. The other form of scamming as well is called vishing, where you would get fraudsters calling you and trying to get your banking details. They would purport themselves to be people either from a reputable organization, such as your service providers, or even from the bank. So they will then request for your details, and if you give your details over the phone, you have compromised your banking details. Another prevalent one also is through the emails, where they would send you a link via email, or alternatively also through SMS. Smishing, we refer to it as smishing, where you would get an SMS that would say to you, listen, you need to update your banking details. Please provide your banking details through following a certain link. And I'd also urge consumers to double check those online shopping sites. Even if it means go onto Hello Peter, try and see whether this is in actual fact a legitimate website that you're entering your banking details into. So yeah, it's silly season. We need to be extra vigilant.
And as you're speaking about websites as well, you know, we're saying that these fraudsters are always like a step ahead as well. As technology evolves, as we become more vigilant, so do they. Some of these websites as well, do you find that they're almost a duplicate of the original, that they look so authentic? And if so, how does then a consumer distinguish between the real website and what could be a fake website?
I think what's important is to check the domain address. And I know sometimes when someone is trying to maybe do an online purchase, you don't double check those type of things. So it's important to, when you are transacting online, make sure that you are of sound mind and that you are in a relaxed state where you are able to double check all of these finer details. And trust me, it happens to even the best of us, where you look at a website and on face value, it looks like a legitimate website. And then later you realize that your banking details have been compromised.
And Dorothy, the double checking doesn't only end at, you know, checking the website itself, but I've also had experiences of people sharing of people who've gone on a legitimate website and then getting an SMS. You're speaking about smishing earlier. Then getting an SMS that says, oh, your package package is on its way, click on this website, and then just add in your banking details or your CVV number. What advice do you have to shoppers when it comes to that as well? And how can I tell that, look, I did go on a legitimate website. I did what Dorothy said I should do. The forensic expert said we must check the domain. I've checked it. But then I get the suspicious SMS afterwards.
Yeah, I think even with SMSs, rather there's things that the bank would not request of you via SMS. So hence I'm saying it's important that consumers become more vigilant in terms of not just volunteering your banking information to any person. You know, I mean, if you are a private banking client, for example, that would most probably be done via your private banker. Or if it's legitimate from a bank, the bank would actually either send you a legitimate email or contact you directly. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with a consumer trying to tell someone that, listen, I need to verify that you are from the bank before I can be able to give you my details. Because I think sometimes consumers panic. Someone calls you and tells you they're from a bank, and then you just give them that information without you having verified that. And the unfortunate sad part is that once you've lost your money, for us as forensic experts to recover that money, it's quite a tedious process. Because as we said, as technology evolves, so do criminals. It's difficult to track and trace them on the World Wide Web.
Yeah, and speaking of that difficulty in tracing them as well, it was the NCC who recently warned of the number of companies that aren't traceable after people have gone and shopped on there. What is the general modus operandi of these fraudsters?
I think what people also need to look out for, the general modus operandi is it's always bargains. If it's too good, the red flags, if it's too good to be true, it most likely isn't true. So it will be bargains where they'll tell you you are getting a freebie, we're giving you 80% off something. So they try different ways of enticing people to get onto their shopping websites. So it's important to double check it, verify it, go on to sites such as Hello Peter, or just even Google that particular online shopping website to see if there's any reviews. Because there's a lot of people in industry who do give out reviews that warning people that a certain website is either a scam or there has been adverse findings regarding that website.
Well, Dorothy, you have really given us insightful tips to make sure we have a safe festive season. Thank you so much for coming into studio and having this discussion with us.
Thank you, Masla, and thanks to your viewers.
That was Dorothy Mmushi, who is a forensics expert, just talking to us about what to look out for when it comes to the silly season, as she reminded us, and shopping online.